engagement with an alumni, World Vision Kenya alumni, an opportunity to engage, to connect, to speak with one another. We are streaming live on YouTube, World Vision Kenya. Check us live on YouTube, check us live on Facebook too, and follow this conversation. Participate in, drop us comments, and let us hear from you, especially so those of you who are alumni and are watching live. We would love to hear from you, and I'm sure somebody will follow in the threads and comments and get to hear from you. I mentioned earlier on, today 2 topics we're going to discuss. Dialoguing around savings resilience. But the second conversation will be around mentorship. How do we do it together? Walk with me on this journey. If you have walked this journey ahead of me, walk with me. That's a cry of one family out there in the village who's saying, you've given me the resource, yes, but I don't know what to do next. Can somebody walk with me? We'll be listening to people who have been practicing this. To start us off, we have a video, and just to explain to us what Saving for Transformation, just a story from the field, something that has happened in one of our programs. We'll be watching a video shortly, Savings for Transformation, to just set stage to the conversation. I'll pass over to Kariz, if you can help us.
Tukianza hii mradi yetu, sisi tulikuwa tunaenda kukata kuni msituni ndio tukuje tuuze ili tuweze kualisha nayo watoto wetu. Sisi tulikuwa tunachoma makaa, hata mimi mwenyewe nilikuwa nachoma makaa. Ndio nikuje niuze, mpaka ilifika mahali tukaanza kusema na Mungu wako wapi. Sababu tulikuwa na shida nyingi, watoto hawakuwa wanaenda shule. Hata imani ikakosa, hata kuenda kanisa. Ikawa unaenda tu kwa sababu ya kuenda, hauna amani.
This is a group of widows who are about 15 that were mobilized by the local Catholic Church parish to just fellowship together and offer themselves psychosocial support. And being women in a pastoralist community, also they had no entitlements at all, which was made much more vulnerable by the fact that they were widows. So they lacked the financial capacity to uplift themselves and even provide for the children who are under their care. And so when World Vision came in, we trained them using the Savings for Transformation model in terms of how they can mobilize the local resources amongst them.
Tukaitwa na World Vision, wakatufunza jinsi tutaendelea zaidi. Wakatufunza table banking, jinsi tutatumia kutoa pesa na kuchukua kama deni na kuregesha.
Getting resources for vulnerable groups here, it is difficult. They cannot access financial support from banks and any other financial institution. So this was a viable way of ensuring that they have locally available resources mobilized to support them. And so they started saving. As they save, then they could borrow. They save and then borrow. And as we are talking today of 500,000 Kenya shillings that is circulating amongst themselves. And they are doing various businesses.
Tulianza bakery, tukapata fadhili ya World Vision, tukatusaidia jinsi ya kupata majiko 2 na oven.
Na kazi yetu iliendelea kupanuka. Tukaanza kupeleka mikate yetu kwa shule ya upili wa Kainuku Mixed Secondary School. Na pia tukatafuta tenda ingine Kaptiri Secondary School. Hatukukuwa na uwezo wowote, lakini sasa hivi ninajivuna na pia tumewasaidia wale wamama wengine wakongwe wenye tulianza na wao kikundi. Pia kuna shares tunawasaidia wao. Hiyo ni kusema wao pia wanafaidika kupitia sisi. Nashukuru sana kwa sababu sisi kama kina mama tumesaidika, maisha yetu imebadilika, manyumba tumejenga, watoto tumewasomesha, furaha imepatikana katika familia zetu, utamaduni ile tulikuwa tumenyanyazwa imetuondokea sisi. So mpaka saa hizi tumefaidika kabisa na tunamshukuru Mwenyezi Mungu.
Thank you so much. If you've listened to that video, you're hearing the story of projects. How much more if we scale this to 10 groups, 20 groups? That's the conversation we're going to have here today. And I'm pleased to have our National Director, Lillian, joining with us. And remotely connected, I have George Ndungu, who will help us have this conversation around building household resilience, this Saving for Transformation program. George is a friend to World Vision Kenya. I mean, he's somebody we work together. He is passionate about what we do. He's a renowned development and humanitarian practitioner, an alumnus of Moi University, Daystar, London School of Economics, and even the Harvard Business School. And today he's going to help us just unpack this conversation around saving for transformation. Lillian, let's start from you. Let's hear from you first. When you talk savings for transformation, and where you sit as a national director, what comes to mind? What's your passion around this?
What comes to mind, George, is there are very simple ways in which we can empower women to let them know that they too can earn an income in a very simple, cost-effective way. And as you know, in a household, there's this saying that if you empower a woman, you've empowered the whole family. Children will eat, children will go to school. So Savings for Transformation is one of those low-cost but high-impact models that can truly transform families and transform communities. You can even organize in churches to have Savings for Transformation groups to enable those vulnerable families, especially women and the youth, to be able to raise income so that they can have their own income-generating activities. The video has just shown us how quickly a group of 15 women can come together, and all of a sudden they have savings of over $5,000, and they are all able to put together projects, income-generating projects that not only benefit them financially, but are also able to contribute to good nutrition for children in their communities, in their homes, and in schools. So as you said, we've got George Ndungu with us on the call. George is an alumni of World Vision Kenya, a former sponsored child, whom we are very proud of because now he's even a Harvard alumni as well to their own communities. It's a fantastic thing for us to hear. So I'll hand back over to you so that we can hear from George in terms of how economic empowerment is happening in the communities and what he is doing to contribute towards building resilience of vulnerable communities through the work he's doing now.
All right, George, if you're hearing us.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear. Just tell us your story. I think we want to first of all hear your story, your life and time in Words for Transformation.
Thank you very much, George. I happen to come from Kitale, from a very humble family. Due to the faith and the belief in my parents, a local pastor enlisted my household as a potential beneficiary of World Vision project in Kitale. It was called the Nzoia Urban Project. And they helped me go through primary school. They helped me go through the rest of the schooling, and God has been faithful throughout. He sent people my way. He sent scholarships my way. And I can only be thankful to God and everyone else who's been, instrumental in getting me to listen. And so here I am, being one of the ambassadors of the great work that World Vision is doing, and trying individuals to embrace some of the life transformation strategies to transform many others that we cannot be able to reach. George?
I just want to speak from where you ended, where I know that working with the National Technical Assistance for the Kenya Social Economic Inclusion Program in Kenya, and the lessons you've learned through the years from the various trainings that you've encountered. So does this thing work? Social transformation, savings for transformation. Does this thing work? Where you sit and what you do in your current practice, but also your journey through World Vision, would you say this model works? And what are you currently doing in your current role to just advance this course in your daily job? George?
Thank you, George. I'm currently the overall team leader for a consortium offering technical assistance to the Kenyan government in a project that would pilot social and economic inclusion to reach more vulnerable households across the nation. This is a project funded by the World Bank and the UK government to run for the next 5 years. And the intention is to uplift households and individuals out of extreme poverty using the poverty graduation approach. Poverty graduation approach, or in the World Vision's terminologies, is this approach or strategies implementation to wealth creation and pathways out of poverty. The other aspect is it includes, enhancing households' investments, employment, and including to some extent employment to those that are employed to positively influence family well-being, the outcomes, and including educational, health, and economic outcomes. We also look at it not just being an income strengthening strategy, but also something that leads to asset ownership. And this is where households can move from dependency to self-reliance to holding assets that would take even to move them from one generation to the other. Remember, poverty is intergenerational. And so the interventions that we're putting in place, including now the Savings for Transformation, enables households and individuals to transcend this intergenerational poverty to enable those future generations to work and also overcome poverty. Allow me to finish with two different statements around this, that we do this so that we do not just increase the lifetime of the people, but we tend to have what economists call smoothening of income or income support, the lifetime consumption and all that. But also we would look at it in terms of improving well-being. And well-being here is in its general term. We have a lot of very key determinants that can be looked at. And amongst this, especially to the vulnerable households, we're looking at education, we're looking at improvements in nutrition, and we're looking at improvements in health, just to mention but a few. The last bit, and this talks about resilience, is the ability that the savings and the assets accumulation being able to provide a cushion for the households and individuals to fall back in terms of emergencies and different shocks. We know very well, and there's evidence to show, and human disasters. And so this sort of savings and investments allows these households to overcome these extreme shocks and be able to stay afloat in times of crisis. Just to mention a few things, because of time constraints, these are some of the aspects that make it possible for me to be convinced that Savings for Transformation is a strategy that works and it in itself is a game changer. George?
So then this doesn't just look like rhetoric. Just listen to Lillian. Are these things we are doing in World Vision Kenya? Are we having programs around savings for transformation actively happening?
That we are rolling out in World Vision Kenya. And as George just alluded to, it's a powerful model that truly transforms households in terms of their economic capacity and economic strength. And even as we are looking now at building on our National Resource Development Strategy, as was alluded to by Mr. Lilan, our board chair-elect, this is one of the models that we are considering rolling out as an initial high impact and low cost model that we can bring together women in Salga area program, which is the area that we are targeting with this first rollout, bring together women, organize them in groups so that they can start putting money to save and start their own income generating activities. So we are rolling it out currently in our area programs, but through local resource mobilization, we also want to do the same and ensure that we start savings for transformation as a building block to bring that economic stability to communities in Salga and beyond.
All right, thank you. I want to come back to you, George, to just mark my last call to ask. So what can you do as an alumni? Okay, what can you do as an alumni to contribute towards the savings for transformation movement in our Kenya, in our country? George.
Thank you, George, for the question, and allow me to put it in different bullet points, if that was allowable. And my thinking is every extreme poor household is one caring alumni away from being a success story. This is my take on it, that any extreme poor household or vulnerable household is one caring alumni away from that success, from that household being a success. We have had the opportunity to be mentored, for our lives to be transformed. We wished we had this then. We've had it now. There are many persons out there who are wishing that they could have a mentor or somebody who is caring enough to uplift them out of poverty. And to me, that positions us as alumni as the central pillar for being the change agents, being the catalyst of change to ensure that that household, that child that is vulnerable, and many others that we cannot reach as individuals can be reached as a group of alumni in Kenya. Two, I have 6 P's that we can sort of use to get to enhance the lives of these persons. We have our marketplace, and so the first P is the place. We work in different marketplaces. We have that as a platform to influence the way programming are done, the strategies, including what we're talking about, savings for transformation. We're talking of promoting this to the people who have the connections to resources or those who can directly give as individuals to uplift the livelihoods of vulnerable children. We can also talk about the product, the savings for transformation as a product. How well can we package it as alumni and be able to speak for it to any of the persons that we meet? We meet so many persons, and allow me to use the escalator pitch. Can we be able as alumni to sell this product to potential donors for them to be able to invest in similar programming away and far and above from Salga that we are aiming for? And thirdly, there is what is usually said that we cannot always build a future for our youth, but we can build a youth or our youth, or for our youth, the future. Okay, so we move away from building for them, but ensuring that we can build our youth for the future, the generations that are coming, the generations that are yet to come. Somebody said they are the beautiful ones, but that's debatable. So how do we get to invest now so that the group that is coming to be or to take our place has a future, rather than just making their today to be the final one. And lastly, and I'm borrowing this from Brian Tracy's words, he said, like, financial security and independence are equated to a three-legged stool resting on savings, insurance, and investments. I look at it as an alumni in terms of investments and ensuring the lives of those who may not have the privilege to do it today. We are the change makers. You and I can hold hands together and move away these persons from their situations today to be the success that we are talking about, and me being one of those that can talk about our work as World Vision. George?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm sure there are many of our audience who are listening and following this conversation live. I would love to probably give one or two questions to one of the members in the who are listening, tuned in live, a question to either Lillian or to George. If we can pick one or two questions from the audience. Eunice, you can help me on that. If there's a question from the audience that could be directed to George before we let him go on this Savings for Transformation program. I am convinced, because I am a beneficiary of what he's talking about. I'm convinced, but would love to hear from our audience if there's been any question. Okay. All right, Bernard Okok, if you can open your mic and ask your question.
Thank you, George. Thank you, Lillian, and thank you, Eunice. My question is very simple in the sense that I'm looking at the direction of sustainability. What are some of the step-by-step actions that World Vision Kenya is putting in place to ensure that the local resource mobilization, the area for the social transformation that we are planning to initiate in Salga, are not only sustainable, but also we are also able to expand and touch more lives? What are those some of the simple step-by-step actions that we are considering to put in place? Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ben, for that question. I'll attempt to respond to it. You know, the first rule of sustainability, Ben, is to ensure ownership. Ownership by the communities that we are going to be working with, ownership by the local leaders that we are engaged in any community. So one of the big steps that we've taken is to make sure that as we build and as we design programs in Salga, we are co-creating with church leaders, we are co-creating with communities, we are co-creating even with school children. We've got a partner in Salga called Belba Primary School. We are co-creating with the Nakuru County government, which is the county where Salga is found. Because for us, we realize that as World Vision, our presence in any locality is really time-bound. But the church, we find the church there, we are going to leave the church there. We find local leaders there, we are going to leave local leaders there. And most importantly, the community themselves. If they become part of the creation or design of any program, it makes it so easy for them to own it and to run with it even after World Vision has pulled out. That is why we are even involved in this engagement with the alumni, because for us, co-creation is important for ownership. It's important for sustainability. We do not want to come and impose what we think will work and what will not work. And that's why we're having these dialogues today. We are talking to the alumni. A week or two ago, we were actually in Salga. We sat down with pastors, we sat down with school teachers, we sat down with children to just hear from them what the issues are in Salga and how they think we can work together to overcome them. So for me, that is one of the key things that are important that we are doing currently as World Vision, even before we start rolling out, co-creating to ensure that there's ownership, and that in turn will contribute to sustainability.
Thank you so much, Lillian, for that. And if I recap a bit of the conversation that George mentioned, which is going to be a segue to our part 2 of the conversation. Alumni creating time to work with a family work with a group of families, work with a community. It depends on the scale that God will enable you and I. Dedicating your time to work with the family. Speaking about mentorship. And so we'll be segueing into the next session to say, okay, fine. So World Vision has come in and I think in part answering of what Lillian has articulated to say, we don't just want to come in and set the program and then go, but we want to work with these communities until they have built that resilience and sustainability. So we'll be speaking, building household resilience through mentorship. Okay, the first part was starting the programs, Savings for Transformation, but now how does mentorship accelerate our success in those programs? And before that, we'll be watching a video. What has happened in the past? What have we seen work in a given community? Teresa Chepto will tell us her story of how mentorship has accelerated her success in a given program.
I was just raised like any other Pokot girl. I took up the role of girls in the community, and my future was full of uncertainties. I used to see my sisters that were raised up to some point, and then they would go to be circumcised and then married off. But a breakthrough came in when I was enrolled as a sponsored child by World Vision. And because I was a sponsored child, I was treated as a special person in the community. Then, you know, they would watch over us, they would follow us on to see how we were doing at home and even at school. They would provide for us all the basic needs that we needed. And so I got some confidence that I would achieve my dream. And from then, you know, life started changing for me. And I started seeing life in a very different way. From the teachings I received from World Vision, including mentorship programs, ARP, and teachings that were targeting parents, I was able to escape FGM because then my parents would, they were aware of the effects of FGM and they supported me throughout my decision. In 2017, out of the work that I had done in the community, as young as I was, 16 years of age, I received $15,000 from World of Children organization in the US. I went to collect the money. I donated the whole amount to a CBO in Chepareria, and the money was used to pay school fees for girls and to make desks that was shared amongst the schools that were there. And so many girls that I sponsored that time, today they are working, others are teachers, others are medics, and I'm proud of the decision I made at that time. Working for World Vision is the best gift that God has given me because it has given me the platform to give back to an organization that worked so hard to see my dream come true, and to a community that sold their cows to get me to school. And so I use this platform to advocate for girls' rights, to make them escape from dangerous cultural practices like FGM and child marriage. Mentorship program has impacted greatly in this county in terms of producing girls who are independent, girls who are sober-minded, girls who inspire generations of this county. And I am happy to report that more than 700 girls have gone through this program, and they are serving in different capacities in this country, and they act as role models to many girls and many women in this society. I want to encourage all the alumni that it is not all about money, but it is about doing something for the society, for the poor and for the unprivileged. And this is what I think transformation is all about.
Lives can change for good. That's a good punchline and a good hashtag. I wonder how many of you have mentors? And is mentorship a thing for the young people, just for the kids, for the youth? Is it for all of us? Lillian, do you have a mentor?
Yes, I do. I believe we all need mentors.
Yeah.
You know, we all need to be guided We all need to be coached. We all need to be advised. You know, when I watch this video, listening to the lady saying that the alumni can give back through mentorship, it just triggers my mind to the breakfast meeting that we had in October with the governor, which was hosted by the governor of Nakuru, as we're looking to raise resources and partner with corporates. The children that came there from Bellbell Primary School, one of their cries was that, look, yes, we face a lot of challenges in Salga. We want to stay in school, but what we lack are mentors. And the governor then challenged us to say, where are the women mentors for these girls? Where are they? Who is out there to speak to these girls, to encourage them to stay in school, to just encourage them also to understand that there is better in terms of life out there? So mentorship is one thing that can really transform a child or even an adult, because it touches on the heart and it touches on the mind. And once the mind is transformed or is influenced positively, everything else can fall into place. So we all need mentors. And for me, I agree that mentorship is a powerful approach that can really build the confidence of a child and make them understand that there are opportunities and that life can be better.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm joined by Moses Chepkonga, who is a program manager, Kenya Big Dream. He's a staff for World Vision Kenya, who will help us unpack mentorship and its application within our programs in the field. Moses, are you on the call? Are you on the line?
Yes, on the line.
All right. Thank you, Moses. We just want to hear from you. Just how has it been received as a community? Mentorship, is it something that has been received well within our programs and within the sectors that you're working in? And if you could give us some examples of what we're doing to advance mentorship within our program areas.
Yeah, okay, thank you very much. I want to say that mentorship is a very inspiring approach in transforming the lives of children and transforming the beneficiaries falling under the mentorship. So mentorship actually involves a personal relationship between two people, two or even more people with the goal of professional and personal development growth. And normally the mentor is usually experienced, is usually a role model, is usually endowed with a lot of knowledge and skills, and is usually ready to share what he or she has to a mentee. And a mentee is the beneficiary who is actually less experienced. And so the goal of mentorship is actually to help the mentee improve on their skills and hopefully advance in their careers. So I want to say that mentorship works because one thing is that I have seen it. You've heard from Teresa Chepto, who has actually, who was a beneficiary of the mentorship, and at the same time a beneficiary of World Vision as an RC. And I have also been involved in overseeing the mentorship of more than 500 girls who went through mentorship, coming from very vulnerable communities, very vulnerable households, who could not be able to proceed on if they were not supported through the mentorship. And right now, so many of them have university education, they're working. A number of them are still moving on in their career development or career path. So mentorship works. Mentorship is very powerful. Mentorship is very inspiring. Yeah. Okay, over to you. Are you able to hear me?
Are we following Moses?
Oh.
talk a little further to give us examples of what is going on in our program areas. I'm sure you have some illustrations specific to our program areas in World Vision. Thank you for those comments, the commentary of the importance and the place for mentorship. I would like our Savings for Transformation program.
Okay. Yes. So thank you very much. So one thing is that we've had a program which actually started in the year 2013, and it is a program which is still going, which we worked in partnership with a school and also an organization. And through the mentorship program of training, which were very, very key in terms of their lives, and especially after having completed the Form 4, they were taken through trainings on life skills, economic empowerment through entrepreneurship, professional growth, educational and academic growth, vocational skills like hairdressing, tailoring, cookery, agriculture, and livestock production, IT skills, and even spiritual nurture, apart from also the career development. So, so it has been very, very powerful. And one thing that I would want to say through the mentorship, the impact of mentorship in our programming, that one, there was increased retention of girls who are pursuing their careers. We had mentees were able to give back to the community as their commitment, even as they advanced in their careers, both in college, in the university, and even at the moment, for those who are actually currently working. And this has actually changed the attitude of parents towards girl child education in the community in West Pokot. There has been improved self-esteem among the mentees, and so they're able to stand firm very well and be able to move on to a higher level. There's been improved ICT skills among the mentees, increased number of role models in the society, and like before, when the role models were very few in the society, and so there were very few girls in school, in colleges, but at the moment the number has increased. And there has been reduced cases of child marriage, FGM among girls within the mentorship area. We've had also parents who are motivated to support their daughters to advance to the highest level of academic and social ladder. There has been a drastic reduction in the number of FGM cases among girls within the project area. So I just want to invite Nancy Cherotich, who is a beneficiary of the mentorship program, to give a testimony and some bit of life experience on the same. So if you'll allow me to do that, then I'll invite Nancy to pick up from there. Nancy, over to you.
Thank you. I'm Nancy Cherotich, a beneficiary. Okay. A beneficiary, World Vision, Chaparreria, ADP. Through all my primary school, I went, I'm from a humble background, that is it. And due to that, that is my mother. My father passed away when I was still in grade 5. And luckily God helped me to score well in primary, but because of the situation that I was in, my mother tried to send me back to my uncles to be buried off first to be circumcised and being married off, but later, through the works and the hand of God, I was able to go to high school by the help of the World Vision staff, that is ADP Chepareria 2010, where Moses Chapanga was the head of that. He was the chair and he was the manager of the World Vision at that point. And in that process, I was able to join a high school, which I was not meant to join because I passed well. I was called to join a national school, but I started a school, that is Morcus St. Elizabeth Girls Secondary School, Morcus, of which it started 2010. I never said that it is a small school, it is starting only 29, but the passion that I had to change my family, to have a better family, is what motivated me most. And while I was in high school, that is in 2010 to 2013, the parents I was given by the World Vision became my mentors, because all through they gave me moral support. They encouraged me, through their own personal salaries, I was able to be schooled all through without being sent home. I tried all the best I could to be the best because I didn't want to disappoint them. People good open way for me to be their own daughter. Others were young, they didn't have families, but they just gave that small they had to enable me at least school and have a better life. In the process, through my high school, I finished well. I scored a grade to join a university. I was called to join University of Laikipia, where I was to pursue education science as a teacher. But before that, there is this World Vision and the Global Give Back Circle Society organization, which came in to give us a mentorship program again. And in that mentorship program, we were able to go through a series of courses which helped us to shape, like the hairdressing. The hairdressing is a skill of hand, and we used to, if you're able, when you are in college, at least you could do knitting and have something on the table for that time. We were able also to be trained on life skills, which was a key thing in shaping our own character as girls, our own ways of living, while you are away from parents who can monitor you and away from other people that you are used to be together. So those skills, really, the life skills, the health education, and ICT helped us a lot. Personally, it helped me to be who I am right now and to be encouraged, to have that motive, like I can be able to change my society, my siblings, people surrounding me, and the community at large. And the IT skills are good. While you are in school, at least you can browse, you can help yourself to be where others are in terms of searching notes, reaching on others, communicating to others, also communicating to our mentors, which we were allocated and given, we were matched according to the way you are, the characters, the way you behave. We were mentored by mentors from America. I had a mentor, and that mentor shared a lot with me. She was called Samantha Whiting. We used to share our own personal experiences, the challenges that we pass in our courses that we are pursuing in university. That is mostly what, and she will try to encourage, if have a family, the 5 lives, like my spiritual life, we used to know God is there, yes, He is the one who is living with us, He is the one who is controlling everything on this earth. And on part of health education, it was good because through health education, I was able to know the young ones and the siblings who are at home, although the little thing that we have, we should balance the diet and we should have an environment that is conducive for their mind to grow and to be a good students in school and also at home. Another thing we used to learn in that mentorship program that was so core to me was also the part of business, entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship helped me a lot in shaping my spending. We were used to be given a little bit of, we call it an upkeep. When we're given an upkeep to go to university, you are supposed to budget. And in that budgeting, I was able to have something small for my family. Being the firstborn, it was a challenge. I lost on the way during my university, I lost my mother. And because she was the only person who was with me, and we had another 7 children back, I'm the 7th one. It was so challenging. I could give a little bit to them, send them back to school because they were still in primary. Have them fed also, and also spare some for their clothing. So in that process, the skills of entrepreneurship helped me a lot. I also managed to, while I was in holidays, I managed to be an entrepreneur. I could blend juice, go sell them at the market, and also I could go help others to. And through that, I was able to feed my family. The mentorship program is a really good thing, and it is something that is impactful. And through the mentorship, I am whom I am. I am a teacher currently in an internship at Tartar Girls Secondary School, waiting for an employment, of which I know God will open ways. But as an intern, after completing my high school, I was able to do what you call, it is good to do community service. The volunteering, I could go back to my high school, talk to the girls that they are there, tell them it is possible, because the school started only with one stream. Without anything, we could share with the primary, Morpus Primary, we could share with them the classes, and we managed to go to university. So there is nothing impossible. It's only mental, and it is only the way the people that mentor us gives us something good. So mentorship shapes our lives, and it has really impacted much on my path, because currently I'm the breadwinner of my siblings. 2 are in Form 4, and I'm proud of them. One is doing grade 8, the others are young, and my brother is joining college, of which all is by the World Vision team. The mentors that we had while I was in high school, was in primary, high school, and college, university, to where I am currently. It's only through the hand of God. Thank you so much, Moses, because you coordinated most. You are like the big father to me. Always, you are the big father to me, with Madam Caro, the principal St. Elizabeth Girls, who is like a mother to me. Until now, they are still my parents. And through me, the community that I am right now, the girls that I interact with always, even when I am teaching them classwork, still I could motivate with my story that everything is possible, we can make it, it is.
That was Nancy Cherotich telling us her story of transformation. Wow, this is humbling, friends. This is real. This is real. And you know, when I listen to her, it reminds me of a time I had a cousin who was really bugging me quite a bit. And so I thought the easiest way is to tell her to go and start a business. So I gave her some 25,000 shillings. So, you know, go start a business. And I said, now you're off my hook. About 4 months later, I got to hear a story from another cousin of mine that she was looking for money from him to do a business. And so it's if we just think of providing finances without providing the appropriate skills and mindsets to transform, then we'll be wasting. And I think it's a personal story to just say growing. And when you listen to the stories from the World Economic Forum, the 21st century skills that young people require, mentorship is one of the top skills. And so, Lillian, back to you to just ask. So how do we see alumni play in this space of mentorship? How do you see alumni play in that space?
I think alumni have an opportunity to give back to children. When you listen to what Nancy is saying, she's already started also paying back the mentorship that she got, the guidance that she got, the support that she got. She's also giving it back, not only to her siblings, but even she's gone back to the school where she also was educated. So for me, I heard George earlier on also talking about mentorship, that he was mentored and is now ready to mentor others, to also prepare them, to equip them with life skills and the mindsets that are required for them to really get out of this vicious cycle of poverty. And the stories that we've seen from both Teresa as well as Nancy, they demonstrate that it is possible. These are real life transformation stories that are showing the success of mentorship. Because when you listen to Nancy, her mind has been changed, her attitude to life has been changed, she's been equipped with skills that demonstrate responsibility as a growing adult. And those are the skills that we want to give to our youth. George earlier on says we need to prepare our youth for the future. So for me, that is one way in which we really need to come back and work with the alumni to see how we can prepare those youth for the future. The change of mindset is critical. As you said yourself, George, if you give 25,000 to your cousin today and tomorrow they're asking again for money from somebody else, it means the basic foundation that is required for transformation has not been addressed. So a mentorship addresses those issues, the change of mindset and opening up of the mind of a youth for them to think responsibly, to see opportunities and go out there and grab them and use resources wisely. So I see the alumni playing a very critical part through these mentorship initiatives. And that's why we want to call on their technical skills, to call on their time and their expertise to journey with us further to really build the resilience of the most vulnerable children in communities.
Well put, well put, well put. Thank you for that, Lillian. We'll be coming to just that appeal shortly. Just an appeal to an alumni. And for those who are joining in, not too late. Catch the story. We're speaking about the place for the alumni in building household resilience. We have two programs. We have the Saving for Transformation and then mentorship in the savings programs. And we're calling upon alumni to work with us to go further and help to transform the communities. I saw one of the alumni members join in, Caroline Jepchumba. If you're still on the call, we'd love to hear from you. Caroline, if you're on the call, I would just want to ask, how do you see yourself getting involved as an alumni? You've mentioned that you're an alumni of World Vision Kenya. How do you see yourself walking on this journey of transformation with the rest of the alumni? Caroline? If you're on the call, Caroline Jepchumba. All right, probably she has a tech issue. We'll be coming to the end of this session before we segue into the call to action by the National Director. But if George, you're still on the call, I just want to ask back one question. I mean, speaking from the first person, I'm not privileged to be an alumni of World Vision Kenya as yet, okay? Still serving as a staff of World Vision. But when I get to become an alumni, but for the alumni who are here, how do we expand this conversation? How do we, and I know you've mentioned in parts using for the 6P model, but I just want to ask, in your closing remarks on this place for mentorship, what are some of those skills and attitudes that we need to build in the Saving and Transformation Program? What are some of the skills and mindsets that we need to be, mindset, attitudes that we need to be building in this mentorship program as we seek to advance our Savings for Transformation Program? George Ndungu, if you're still on the call.
Hi, George.
seek your wisdom on this, your insights. Some of the skills and attitudes in mentorship for these savings for transformation. If we are going to help our communities, speaking to other alumni, what do they need to focus on? Because there's some way we're doing our own individual efforts. Some may be through the structured program that World Vision Kenya will put in place, but I'm sure some of us who are alumni are doing something on their own, and we applaud you, we celebrate you. I just want you to speak into that to say, what advice would you give to that alumni? What advice would you give to Nancy, to Jepchumba, who was on the call earlier? What skills and attitudes would they be seeking to have as they advance mentorship of those young people within their communities? George?
Thank you, George, for that. For me, an alumni, and especially so those who've benefited from World Vision, have benefited from all sets of skills necessary for them. And so I am looking at it in terms of being or creating great achievers who are inspired by mentors, and the alumni is being mentors in this sense. We would look at different sectoral aspects, but allow me to just mention 2 or 3 that one would focus on is on financial literacy, or our approach on financial literacy, ensuring that households and individuals appreciate the issues around financing and investments, and transforming just incomes to assets that can transcend or can withstand shocks that come our way more often, and they're out of our control. I'm looking at it also that alumni can also have the skill sets around or revolving around personal development, because mentorship would ultimately lead to personal development. And so the skill sets that alumni would require to have or would wish to have is those that can help a person to, have personal initiative, personal passion, the zeal, the go-getter attitude of ensuring that their situation is just temporary. The other aspect that we might look at is, issues around understanding cultures and traditions and using that relative advantage to ensure that the persons that we'll be talking to and with and discussing or leading them to see the potential in themselves. You see, mentorship is creating an opportunity for persons to, realize their internal capacities and create for themselves a worldview that suits their selves. So we need alumni to be able to appreciate and build on traditions and cultural aspects, or take cognizance of that as they try to help the different persons out of poverty. And lastly, allow me to look at it from a very a very straightforward, linear way, although it shouldn't be, that would want to, have or create that environment or the worldview that these persons can see ahead and help them to navigate a course to their destination. So being able to, packaging yourself as an alumni and the work that you do, the different expertise that you can lay your hands on to ensure that you create, a course that these persons can navigate to get to their destinations. There may not be a very straightforward way that I'm presenting it today, but it is the various facets of life, but creating that pathway, ensuring that they can see the potential in them and exploit that potential moving forward. George?
much. It's great. It's great to hear from every one of us who has presented and who has made commentary. Clearly, mentorship is critical. It's one of the anchors to our programs. And we don't just come and, I think, answer what Ben Okoka asked, sustainability. Mentorship for us is one other dimension that we're going to ensure that the programs are sustainable. I'll give one opportunity to, I think, one member in the audience who raised their hand, Manasseh Cherpka. If you're still on the call, you had a question. One person on the audience, we can probably give ask a question, and then we can wrap up in that session. Manasseh, are you still on the call? All right. If Manasseh is not on the call, Abdullahi Wako, are you on the call?
Yes, sir.
All right. Question.
Thank you. Yeah.
Being mentored by the organization. I'm from Moyale district. So my question is, if we are looking forward to mentor others in our society, which will be the best tool or the best method that we can tackle to overcome the challenges that we might be facing there? Over to you, sir.
You want to take that?
Yes. I'll take that, but I'll also call on our expert in World Vision on mentorship, Moses.
Okay.
Moses, if you're on the call, to help me to answer the question from Abdullahi in terms of what are the best approaches or tools that they can use to mentor others in their community to overcome the problems that they face. Moses, are you able to help me to respond to that?
Yes, I am able. Yeah, thank you very much, Abdullahi. What I want to say is that, first of all, there are different forms of mentorship. There is that which focuses on the individual. And then we have that which focuses on a group form of mentorship. And then there is the institutional focus in terms of providing mentorship through an institution, and then through a community, and at the same time, of course, like in professional growth at workplace. So the individual mentorship actually is so focused because it is addressing the very specific issues that touches on an individual based on vulnerability. So what normally happens is that who have actually indicators of high vulnerability. And then, of course, there are also strategies that are developed in addressing the vulnerability through the mentorship. And at the same time, you can actually be involved in, apart from you being a mentor or desiring to be a mentor, you can as well be able to influence others as mentors or sponsors and donors. And then of course, implementing based on a given model. Maybe you want to focus on working as a group to mentor children in an institution, or you want to mentor each particular mentor can sponsor a mentee in a school. So it will depend on the test and what you would want to expect even in future to be able to see the impact that has been created through the mentorship. Of course, there will be a lot of continuous learning and reflection on the mentorship program. Yes. So thank you so much. Over to you, Lillian.
So much, Moses.
Thank you. Thank you, Moses, for answering that question. I don't know if we have any other question. Abdullahi, are you satisfied with that response?
Yes, madam, I am satisfied.
And I thank the team of World Vision to mentor me, because my life has been changed for good now. I'm a different person. just from the support from the organization. God bless World Vision Kenya, and I'm ready to support you in whichever the way, because I'm one of the alumni, and I'm ready to change the life of others through my efforts. Thank you so much. God bless you, team.
Thank you. And it couldn't have come well at this point in time to just say, I am ready. I think just to say is going to give us some report and an appeal to just say, how do we work together with the leadership and the staff in World Vision Kenya as an alumni to advance the Savings for Transformation program? We've listened to George, we've listened to Moses, we've listened to a number of us speaking into this subject, and now we just want to hear the call to action. How do we move from here? What do we do next?
Thank you very much, George. So the call to action is what I've been waiting for the whole evening, even as we've been speaking, because I was getting so excited just hearing from our alumni in terms of what they've done. So fellow alumni, what next now is for us to work together, go further together, as the theme of this dialogue was, to address some of the challenges that we continue to see in the communities where we work. So the biggest challenge that we've seen is how to build resilience in vulnerable households in order to support the well-being of the most vulnerable children. And we want to do that behaviors. So we are looking at calling out our alumni to join us in activities that provide a platform for giving back to society. I heard a lot of you saying that you are now ready to give back. You've benefited from World Vision Kenya. You are now ready to give back. So we are inviting the alumni out of their goodwill, through their technical expertise, through their networks, or through their shillings. We are also calling on the alumni to work with us in identifying, mobilizing, and training community groups on Empowered Worldview. Empowered Worldview is a model that we use in our Faith and Development Department that really addresses mindset and behavior change, especially in communities where there's extreme poverty, where some people even ask themselves, where is God that I find myself in? They forget that they actually have the power within themselves to really be the catalyst of transformation. So Empowered Worldview empowers the individual to understand that the power to get out of poverty really is within them, and as long as they have access to a few resources, they can also get out of poverty. So we want to use Empowered Worldview and also Savings for Transformation, as we've shared. So how do we work together with alumni to identify, mobilize, and train such communities in these two models? We are also asking for facilitation and mentorship from our alumni. They've been trained already, they've benefited, some of them are doing extremely well in society. How do they now come back and also train other children as well as communities, women, and some vulnerable groups, to make sure that we help them also to enhance social cohesion in mentorship programs. And then also linking up to mature groups, to microfinance institutions. How do we work with that can also help to enhance their financial capacity and their economic empowerment? So we have organizations like in World Vision, we have Vision Fund that has the capacity to do that. But there are others. I heard somebody mentioning SACCOs and others. How do we link up these community groups to such institutions to help them to grow? And then also documenting, reporting, and also making sure that we are accountable to sponsors for all these interventions that we are doing. So this is the challenge that we are faced with, for which we are calling the alumni to hold hands with us so that we can walk in this journey. We are calling them out to come and work with us in these activities, to mobilize their skills and their other resources so that we can train and mentor children and groups. And as we say that it's time to go further together, we are also cognizant of the fact that Kenya has been hit by multiple crises, especially in this year, 2020. We've had COVID-19, there have been natural disasters. If it's not drought, it's floods. We've had locust invasions and all sorts of other things that have broken really the social fabric. Have lost jobs or lost their sources of income. And wage earners right now are under a lot of pressure, and there's increased exposure to violence against children. Make ends meet. A lot of rage has been turned on either women or children. So we've seen an increase in gender-based violence. We've also seen an increase in exploitation and violence of children. So having all this in mind, we've designed a program
that we are calling Salga. You heard me refer quite frequently earlier on to Salga area program. Salga is really our pilot model in terms of a locally owned and locally funded program that we wish to invite our alumni to come together with us to build together, to co-create, sustainability in these interventions that we want to implement. So for me, I'm inviting the alumni to co-create and design programs with us that we can roll out in Salga and also look beyond Salga, because our vision is greater than Salga. We are conscious that we also have to grow, but we need to start somewhere. So we identified Salga for mentorship programs, for economic empowerment programs, for any community empowering programs that our alumni can bring as suggestions to say these are the things that we can bring to the table that we can start that are in Salga. There's commercial sex work that goes on there, and as a result, a lot of children really left to fend for themselves, and they're exposed to all sorts of abuse. Some children, I want to test this new model, a locally owned, locally funded area program in Salga to see how we can work with that community. But like I said, the intention is to grow even bigger. So as a startup, we had a governor's breakfast on the 13th of October 2020, where we mobilized some local stakeholders in the area to support this program. And we've had a lot of goodwill. So far, even Total has given its commitment that it's going to work with us. We are talking to banks, we are talking to other NGOs that are also present in Nakuru County and the private sector. But we also want our alumni to really be with us and be the drivers of this local area program, which is why we are here today. So a number of emerging vulnerable church to ensure the spiritual nurturing of children. There are water, sanitation and hygiene challenges, environmental degradation, there's health and nutrition challenges. We saw some women that were even showing to us the kind of water that they drink, which is really very dirty water that causes a lot of waterborne diseases amongst communities there, and especially children. So how do we address issues of children infected and affected by HIV/AIDS? As I said, commercial sex work is rife there. How do we help children and their families to overcome some of these challenges? So there's poor maternal child health and nutrition practices that are ongoing in Salga. But biggest of all, livelihoods and education. So children don't have proper access to education. There's a lot of absenteeism and dropouts, like I said, because children have performance as a result. And then there's a lot of children that are coming from poor households with very low household income. And food insecurity also becomes a challenge for those children. So these are some of the vulnerabilities that we've identified in Salga that we feel that we can work together to address, abilities that I've just spelled out. So in child protection, we are looking at healing broken children, as a result also mending families. As I said, families are broken in Salga because of some of the behaviors that are going on there. So how do we ensure child protection through healing broken families, healing broken children, as well as mending families? To address the educational deficiencies, how do we work together to provide basic school kits so that we can give education, we cannot develop them for the future? So I believe that if we can help them with education, school kits and other things that enhance their education, we can really give them that fighting chance to become somebody in society. So we have a responsibility with the alumni and everybody else, like-minded people that want to work with us to really, and he wants to really make sure that there's proper transformation around child protection. We are looking at raising about 13 million Kenya shillings to be able to address that. These are annual budgets that we've put together. So per annum in the community of Salga, to do effective child protection work, we need at least 13 million Kenya shillings. But as I said, we're not looking just at the cash, we're also looking at in-kind contributions. What we call the Kinga Bora Afya Njema project, which is also addressing things like mama kits, dignity kits for girls. You know, a lot of girls are dropping out of school because during their menstrual cycle, they don't have their... How do we empower our boys and girls to really have the kind of mindset that we had from Nancy, who as a child became responsible? The few resources that she got, it was able to even support her family with that. And that made a difference in terms of breaking that cycle of poverty. So how do we empower boys and girls in Salga as well as in other areas to have the same kind of mindsets? And then also a crop sustainable solution. These are all innovative ways that we feel could make a difference to the Salga community. And then under WASH, we are looking at gifting a school with clean. Under livelihoods, There's business and entrepreneurship skills. Again, we heard Nancy, we heard Abdullahi talking about how they've been empowered. How do we also work with those youth, children and women to empower them with those skills? Training, like the best training, as well as financial literacy training for youth and women. So we've put those products together, and we've also put a cost to them so that those that are interested in helping us to market these products can do so, knowing exactly how much it would cost per annum to be able to do this work. So this is really some detail in terms of what the Healing Broken Children, Mending Families program would be about. So for Kenya shillings 37,000, we can support 12 months of mentorship for 25 children per year. What we'll do is the information that is in these documents is quite detailed. And for example, what a basic school kit entails. So Kenya shillings 2,750 buys a basic school kit for one poor child, and it restores their dignity, their pride, as well as their self-esteem. It also encourages them to attend school, and that way we secure their future. The child protection, other packages, what they entail, the detail also is outlined in there. Like I said, we'll share this information via email so that they get time to go through it and see how they can come in. Now, this is also unpacking what the alternative livelihood. For example, under business and entrepreneurship skills, Kenya shillings 4,500 can support unemployed youth to secure their business future through training and follow-up support. So if each and every one of us were 100 shillings faithfully for the next year, or I'm giving 2,000 shillings faithfully for the next year, if we mobilize a critical mass of 1,000 Kenya shillings or 2,000 Kenya shillings givers, I tell you, we can transform so many children's lives here in Kenya. We can transform so many communities' lives. So we are not asking for big givers. We want to have a critical mass of people that are going to faithfully give for sustained periods of time, because the sustainability of these programs depend also on the duration in which we seek to commit ourselves. So how you can help as the alumni, you can volunteer to become a mentor for children. You can volunteer transformation group on our behalf just to keep mentoring them and encouraging them to see how well they are doing. You can be an ambassador for our local resource development program as we start in Salga and look to grow elsewhere. You can be an ambassador speaking as we are doing about the importance of us coming together as Kenyans to really contribute to our own development through the work of World Vision. Or you can decide to be a funder. From the products that I presented to you, you saw what it takes for an individual to give and the number of people that you can impact. You can decide to become a faithful giver, and every month you commit to either giving 1,000 shillings, 2,000 shillings, 10,000 shillings if you can afford it, so that at least we can start building that critical mass of people that are contributing to the well-being of children. And how that giving can be done, we've got on screen our M-Pesa pay bill number, which is 468 bank deposit at our account at Absa Kenya. It's called World Vision Kenya National Resource Development, and the account number is 204-216-1325. And if you're asked for the payment details, the reference is WAKE. That way we'll be able to trace the money to ensure that it goes to the intended beneficiaries. So in terms of way forward, we are working now in-house in World Vision to complete the design, the activities that we are doing, we intend to do in Salga to the World Vision Kenya strategy. We are also in the process of developing program documents, templates, including fundraising plans, and our plan is to complete this by December 2020. After that, we are going to conduct a baseline, because even as so that we are able to measure the impact or the difference that our interventions would have made. So we are going to use our own internal capacities to do this baseline, but if there's any alumni that has the capacity to do that, again, this is something that they can volunteer to help us to do. It normally costs about $5 to do it at low cost. We are also asking for prayer. We are really mobilizing prayer to break the spiritual strongholds that we believe exist in members of the church, school children and teachers, Sunday school teachers, and we're to just commit the area program that we are going to start in Salga to prayer, because we really believe that we have faith and hope that we can make a difference in Salga and beyond. So we are also inviting our alumni to join us in continued prayer, so that even as we design programs, we also have that spiritual accompaniment that we need. We are also going to facilitate a pastor's training on the empowered worldview, because we believe that the church can help us to replicate those change of mindsets and behaviors by engaging with their congregants and also influencing change in communities. So our pastors are going to go through this training of trainers, and they in turn will hold them accountable for replicating that training in the communities. So there's a great opportunity for our alumni to be involved with this. So we expect to also launch our new area program in Salga early next year. It will be any time between February and March 2021. And we are busy raising funds of 1.5 million US dollars, Kenya shillings, to be able to launch that, of starting up that area program in Salga. And they've been quite involved in really facilitating our entry into the community and also funding a lot of the activities that we've been doing so far. So that is my call to action for the alumni. The work ahead of us is huge, but also the amount of impact that we can have on children, the most vulnerable children in Kenya, is really amazing. And I believe that we all have a calling and a responsibility to give back from where we've also benefited. The word also says that there's a lot more benefit in giving than in receiving. So I'm a very strong believer on that. And my call to the alumni is that let's come together and give back in whatever way we can. Help us to mobilize support, help us to bring your networks, expertise of your person here in Kenya. Thank you very much.
Amen. Give of your treasure, that's your Kenya shilling. But your testimony, it's even more impactful when you come back and just share on the platform to say, I am a changed changer, okay? Come and testify and say you have been transformed. With that, we're coming to the close of today's conversation, engagement with our alumni, our beloved alumni, and I'm sure the contact details have been provided. We will share with you information, the deck that Madam was using to speak to us. And I'm just thanking everyone who has made it to come, starting with our chair of the board, Paul. Thank you for creating time to speak with us and just to inspire with us from the board. We feel very encouraged that when the board is supporting the efforts that even the management, the staff, and the communities are engaged in, we really appreciate. Thank you for all our staff in the field who have to dedicate their time, risking everything to just reach out to the communities and transform the lives of Nancy, the lives of Jepchumba. Thank you for your dedication. Thank you for all the staff who made it to the call today, just to listen to the conversation. But most important, all our guests of today were the alumni. Abdullahi and company with a naive and innocent story. So thank you, Abdullahi, and the rest of the alumni who joined on the call. And to the many more who will be listening to this conversation after this, we'll make available this recording to you and reach back to us. If you have any question, I'm sure the leadership will be ready and available to answer. Journey with us together as we seek to transform one child at a time in Salga and other places.
Any comments?
Oh, comments. We have comments from the audience. Yeah, let me give one or two persons a chance to open the mic and just make a comment. Any of the alumni or any of the member of staff who was connected from the field or from diaspora will be pleased to listen to hear your last comments, your closing remarks. One or two members from the audience.
Thank you so much, World Vision team. Indeed, it was a great day for me. The program was a wonderful one. I thank God for being one of your family there, and I'm ready to give back to the society that World Vision has mentored me with all their efforts, including the resources and everything. So I don't have much to say other than I say God bless World Vision Kenya, and we are ready to take the challenges, to mentor others, to change the life of others, so that our God too will help us in the heaven. Thank you so much. I don't have much to say. Be blessed, team.
Thank you so much, Abdullahi, for your kind words. Really appreciate it. Oh, we have our chair back on.
To these stories of transformation, listening to Nancy there and Chepto and watching the other clips and listening to the other alumni just telling their stories. I mean, it's so touching and so inspiring. children like Nancy, who at their early age have all 6 siblings behind her who are entirely relying on her, yet she has to live her life to the fullest. Really, it is so inspiring to see you, Lillian, 100%, that now it is time for action. And I see a lot of commitment from members of alumni, which makes missional formula right with us. Thank you so much, and God bless you. Thank you, members of staff who have really made this very engaging and possible. Thank you, Lillian, and your team for all that you're doing. God bless you, everyone.
Thank you.
Really appreciate your comments, Paul. We have Billy Ouru. You have had your hand up. And all right. All right. Eliud Salim, Katana. I guess maybe there are tech issues. To a time of prayer, and maybe to just ask if Madam could bless us with a word of prayer as we conclude.
All right. Okay, before I bless us with a word of prayer, I also want to express my appreciation to the alumni, just to echo our board chair's sentiments, that we are so encouraged to hear so many people speaking about how their lives have been transformed, and the commitment that we are hearing coming from the alumni, that they are prepared to walk with us on this journey. So our commitment to you is that we'll keep engaged with you, we'll share information with you, and we'll invite you to come along with us. Our vision is that from January, already we need to start having something else should we go to make sure that we impact as many vulnerable children as we can in Kenya. We want to see so many children becoming the Nancy of tomorrow, becoming the Teresa of tomorrow. We want to see so many children being that source of inspiration for this country. And it is possible if you come alongside us to be able to do that. So my prayer is that God continues to bless you and use you as vehicles of change. Let us pray. We've had with the World Vision Kenya alumni. Lord, I just wish to thank you for the way that you've transformed each and every one of their lives. You knew, Lord, as you were working on their transformation, that one day they'll be in a position to also give back and positively willing to give up so much of their time, of their expertise, and of their other resources, Lord, to be able to also make a difference in your ministry. We thank you, Lord, for them, and ask that you may continue to just touch their hearts, Lord, and cause them, Lord, to be ambassadors of this local resource development strategy that we have, Lord. Use them as ambassadors so that they can reach out into their networks, Lord, and bring in other like-minded people that are willing to journey with us. Lord, we don't take for granted this opportunity that you've given all of us to serve in our different ways, Lord, not to be served, Lord, but to serve. We therefore come with that sense of servanthood as well, committing of ourselves, Lord, and asking that you touch our hearts and continue to use us, Lord, as instruments of transformation. We don't have all the resources or the knowledge or the skills, Lord, but we depend on you, Lord, to be able to guide us, to give us that wisdom, the discernment, and the resources, Lord, that we require to make a difference. We've said, Lord, that even as we enter Salga, we are entering with faith, Lord, and with hope that things are going to change for good, that lives will change for good, begins and ends with you, Lord. We therefore have absolute faith that we are going to succeed and go further than we ever imagined. We thank you, Lord, for your presence that has been with us this evening. I just pray that you bless each and every person that has participated in this call. And for those that have to drive home, I pray for safe travels for them, Lord, that your guardian angels, Lord, may be with them and protect them and watch over their comings and goings. In the name of your Son, Jesus Christ, we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Well, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for making it for today's alumni dialogue, Going Further Together. We will be coming back to you with updates on how we're progressing and call you to another session to discuss. And at that time, I think we'll be saying, this is how far we've gone. There is a form that has been along with us, either in giving of your time to train, to mentor, or to give some, give in kind, give cash. This is to you. So thank you so much. Goodbye. God bless. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to you and to your families. Bye for now.
Thank you. Bye.